Please do like, share and subscribe and press the bell icon.
Hello students. So in the previous videos we have learnt about the discovery of protons, discovery of electrons, and we have also seen the Rutherford's experiment. So from all these things we knew about the protons and the electrons. That means some idea we got about the atom. But still the scientists, they were working on it, they were not satisfied. Because if you just look into it, the mass of the proton was found to be 1.672 into 10 raised to minus 24 grams. Look here, mass of the proton was found to be 1.672 into 10 raised to minus 24 grams. That is approximately equal to, I'm not saying that exactly, but approximately equal to 2 AMU. That is 2 atomic mass unit. And when the mass of the this was the mass of the proton, and we know that mass of the electrons is negligible. So the mass of the atom was only because of the mass of the proton, which was around about 2 AMU, but when the exact mass of the atom was found, it was near to about 4 AMU. So this gave the scientists to think over it, that the extra mass of 2 atomic mass unit is coming from where? Are you getting what I mean to say? That is, this is a mass of the proton, which is about 2 atomic mass unit. And electrons, they are not having any mass. Their mass is just negligible. So the mass of an atom is because of these particles, that is mass of the protons. Okay. But the mass of an atom was found to be round about approximately equal to 4 atomic mass unit, 4 AMU. So this gave the scientists to think over it, that the extra mass of 2 atomic mass unit is due to what? From where? This made them to think that there are also certain other particles present in atom whose mass is equal to the mass of the protons, whose mass will be equal to the mass of the protons, and those particles probably are not carrying any charge, because an atom is electrically neutral. This was already found out till now. Then later on in 1920, Rutherford agreed with this view, that is, an atom is having the particles which are the protons and electrons, and along with that he gave the idea about the nucleus. At the same time, he also said that an atom is having particles which are like the protons, whose mass are like the same as the mass of the protons. Like the protons means whose mass is same as the mass of the protons, and which are not carrying any charge. But he could not prove it. Experimentally he couldn't prove, there was no evidence to prove whatever he said. That is, he said this in 1920. So he accepted that there are certain other particles present in an atom. So till now, the discovery of an atom, which we are studying so much about the atom, this study remained to be incomplete. Then later on in 1932, it was James Chadwick. It was James Chadwick. So in 1932, James Chadwick, he proved it experimentally that in an atom there are certain particles whose mass is equal to the mass of the protons, and which are not carrying any charge. What he did, that is, he took a thin foil of beryllium, Be49 plus He24, and he found some other particles having, that is, C612 plus N01. So what he found, that is, he took a foil of beryllium and he bombarded alpha particles on them. Now these are helium, that is He24 alpha particles. These are also called as the alpha particles. So alpha particles is what? Doubly charged heliums. Doubly charged helium ions, those are called as the alpha particles. Doubly charged means what? This helium He2 2 plus. Now this 2 is what? Number of protons, and this 4 is what? Number of protons plus neutrons. And 2 plus, it is doubly charged. So this is, he bombarded them with doubly charged helium or with alpha particles. That is, beryllium foil was bombarded with helium, and he found it gave rise that these particles, beryllium, got converted, or you can say, either you can say converted, or you can say it gave rise to another type of particle, that is C612 plus N01. Now if you count these numbers, they are total on both the sides. Here also 9 plus 4, that is 13, and here also 12 plus 1, that is 13. Here also 6 total, here also 6 total. So he found that some other particles were formed which are from this particular reaction. So these particles, they were not having any charge, they were the chargeless particles. They were given the name as the neutrons. So let us see, so this is how the neutrons, they were discovered. Let us see the properties of the neutrons. Properties. So properties of the neutrons, first of all, they are the chargeless particles. So we can say these are not having any charge. So we can say electrically neutral or chargeless particles. Anything that we can mention over here. Then mass was of these particle, mass was found to be 1.675 into 10 raised to minus 24 grams. Now this mass is slightly heavier than or greater than, slightly greater than the mass of the protons. So how much was the mass of the proton? Just some time back I told you that was 1.672 into 10 raised to minus 24 grams. This was the mass of the proton. So these particles had a mass slightly, very slightly heavier than the mass of the protons. Then these particles are highly penetrating. Highly penetrating. Where they were highly penetrating means what? They had the capacity, these particles, the neutrons, they have the capacity to penetrate the materials. Any material, that is these particles, they are capable to penetrate a vast number of materials. So these particles are highly penetrating, but their penetration power is less than, but it was less than cosmic rays. Cosmic rays. Then, as you have seen that the other particles, it is the electrons and all, when we have studied them in the discharge tube, we found out that they were able to ionize the gas, but these particles, they do not ionize. They do not ionize the gas. So these are the major important properties of the neutrons. Okay, clear everyone? Now so from all this, what we came to know, we knew about the electrons, we knew about the protons, then we got the idea about the neutrons also. So all the fundamental particles which are present within an atom are now discovered. Now let's see how the electrons are being arranged in an atom. How the electrons, they get arranged in an atom. Now this concept, that is arrangement of an atom, arrangement of electrons. That is whatever knowledge, although the scientists, they have worked very hard to find out the arrangement of the electrons inside an atom, but still more and more advancement is taking place. The scientists, the people are working more and more over it. So according to this present knowledge about the arrangement of the electrons in an atom, all this information, that most of the information that we have now is basically from, we get about the study of the, so you can say the knowledge about arrangement of electrons. is from what? From the study of atomic spectra. That is, people studied about the atomic spectra in detail, and from the atomic spectra they knew about the arrangement of electrons in an atom. Now what is an atomic spectra? First of all, I will at present I'll tell you in short what do we mean by atomic spectra. Now see, in various chemical reactions, either the energy is absorbed or the energy has been given out. Either the energy is liberated or the energy has been absorbed. Now when there is a change in the energy, the electrons, they move from one energy level to the other. If they absorb energy, that is, if they take up the energy, the atoms, when in a chemical reaction, if they take up the energy, the electrons, they get excited, and or we can say the atoms get excited, therefore the electrons get excited and they move from the lower energy level to the higher energy level. You've already studied about the first shell, second shell, that is the energy level. So they move from the lower energy level to the higher energy level. At the same time, when the energy has been given out, the electrons will be moving from higher energy level to the lower energy level. So these different, when these electrons they move, when they give out, when these reactions, that is when the electrons they move from one energy level to the other energy level, they emit certain light radiations. They emit some light, and the wavelength of this light, they have a certain wavelength. The light of a certain wavelength is emitted, and this light having a certain wavelength, it will be having a particular color. I repeat once again, in a chemical reaction, the atoms get excited, the electrons get excited. Now when the electrons get excited, or when they take up the energy or lose the energy, they move from one energy level to the other energy level. So as they are moving from one energy level to the other energy level, they are emitting light of a certain wavelength. So when a light has been emitted of a certain wavelength, obviously for a particular wavelength, it is having a particular color. So a light of a particular wavelength comprising of a particular color has been emitted. So in this way, bands of light that has been emitted when the electronic transition takes place. So this gives rise to a spectrum, and which is called, because it is taking place in atom, that spectrum we call this is atomic spectra. So because see, as these that atomic spectra we are getting because of the movement of the electrons. It's only because the electrons move from a lower energy level to the higher energy level, from higher energy level to the lower energy level, some light radiations are emitted of a particular wavelength corresponding a particular color. So from this, it is because of the electrons. Obviously from this atomic spectra we get a vast information about the arrangement of the electrons in an atom. So obviously all these this is because of all the light radiation. So this makes us to study about the light in detail. So now in order to study light, there were many theories. So first of all, we had the wave theory, corpuscular theory. So in order to study the nature of light, why we need to study light? Because it is related to the atomic spectra. Why we need to study about the atomic spectra? The atomic spectra is related to the electrons, and we are dealing with what? We are studying what? We are studying about the protons, electrons and the neutrons. And electrons are such an important particles. When we come to know about the electrons, a big major problem gets solved over here. So this made the scientists to study in detail about the light. So there were many theories. First of all, the first theory about the light was the corpuscular theory. Now this theory was given by Newton. He said that light is composed of tiny particles. Light is composed of tiny particles. Those tiny particles were called as corpuscles. Okay, it is called, and these this, according to this theory, so this theory was accepted for some few years, and he said that according to this theory, that is a corpuscular theory, it was able to explain the phenomenon of reflection and refraction. So these things, these phenomenon were well explained by the corpuscular theory. So what is according to the corpuscular theory? What does this theory means? That light is composed of tiny particles. These tiny particles are called as corpuscles. This theory was given by Newton. And then later But this theory could not explain about this theory could not explain about interference and diffraction. Interference and diffraction. They were not been able to be explained by the corpuscular theory. So because of this, because of these two phenomena were not been able to be explained by the corpuscular theory, this theory was dropped, and after this theory came another theory, that is a wave theory. And this wave theory was given by Maxwell. What did he do? That is, this was given by Maxwell in 1864. What did he do? That is, he found that there are certain waves are there present in space. I repeat, there are certain waves traveling in space. Now these waves, they are also having there are certain waves are there in space, and these waves are having the electric as well as the magnetic fields. These waves, they have electric and magnetic field, and hence because they are having both electric and the magnetic field, he gave them the name as the electromagnetic waves. The name was given by Maxwell, that is the electromagnetic waves. And he said that these waves, that is these are similar to light, and they have been traveling in the form of certain waves having both the electric as well as the magnetic field. So this gave rise to the wave theory of light. From here, that is it gave rise to the wave theory of light. Why it gave rise to the wave theory of light? Because he said that these waves which were found in space, they were same as the waves of the light, and hence in the wave theory of light we will study about how these waves they travel. So let us see about the wave theory of light. That is the silent features of the wave theory of light. These electromagnetic waves are similar to the light waves. So let us see the features. That is, features of these waves are, that is, these waves, light is transmitted. First of all, we can say that these waves, that is, they travel with the same velocity with the velocity of light. Let me write on the first and the very important feature, that is, they travel, the electromagnetic waves, they travel with the same velocity as the velocity of light. That means what? We are comparing the electromagnetic waves with the light waves. So these waves, the electromagnetic waves, they travel with the same velocity as the velocity of light. They do not require any medium. Do not require any medium for propagation. So if they do not require any medium, obviously at this point also it is also the same, whatever that we knowledge of the light that we have, that knowledge as well as the knowledge about these waves same. Even the light will travel even if there is no medium. So light also does not require any medium for propagation. Then it is these waves, that is electromagnetic waves or light. We are talking, either you talk about the electromagnetic waves or the light waves, both are the same. So these light waves or or the electromagnetic waves or the electromagnetic radiations or the light radiations is they are transmitted. So we can say, let's take for example over here, light is transmitted. We are correlating both of them. We are correlating the electromagnetic waves with the light waves. So this light has been transmitted in the form of electromagnetic waves. Can we say this electromagnetic waves, they are also transmitted in the form of the light waves? Both are the same statement. Either light is same as electromagnetic waves or electromagnetic waves is same as the light waves. Both travel in the same way. They have the electric and magnetic fields. Now these electric and the magnetic fields, they are at right angles to each other. They are at right angles to each other and perpendicular. They are perpendicular to the direction of propagation. What does it mean? That is, both these field, electric and the magnetic field, they will be at right angles to each other, and both these field, they will be perpendicular in whichever direction this wave is moving. They will be perpendicular to the direction. These waves, they will be perpendicular to the direction of the propagation. First of all, both of them, these fields are at right angles to each other. At the same time, they are also perpendicular to the direction of the propagation of the wave. So these are certain features, the salient features or the important features of the wave theory. So here we are comparing, it's nothing but it is just a comparison of the electromagnetic waves with the light waves. So basically we are discussing about light. The scientists, they are trying to find out about the nature of the light. So here, so when we say that these light radiations or the electromagnetic radiations, they travel in space like the waves, we should also be knowing what exactly is a wave. You have already studied in the lower classes, but still let me just recapitulate it once again. What do we mean by wave? Okay. So this is what is a wave, alternating current in the upward and the downward direction. We can say this is the point, that is a point of disturbance. Point of disturbance. We can call this as a wave motion. Because these light waves, the light travel, why we are studying about this wave? Light travels in the form of waves, or the electromagnetic radiations also, they travel in the form of waves. So because all these radiations, the light radiations, the electromagnetic radiations, the various radiations, they travel in the form of the waves. So we need to study in detail about waves. What are waves? How do they travel? So this is a point of disturbance. Then we find over here this particular thing. We call this as amplitude. We'll come to the definitions later on. Let me first just show you diagrammatically. So this is called as the amplitude, represented by A. This place where it is having a maximum amplitude, this is called as the crest. And this place where it is having this amplitude, it becomes higher and higher and finally starts decreasing, and then it becomes zero, and then it goes to negative value. So the minimum amplitude where it is, that is called as the what? Trough. Then what else? Then this direction, this is called as the direction of propagation. Direction of propagation of a wave. Okay. Now this distance, that is this particular between two successive, the distance between the two successive crest or the two successive, this also, that is represented by lambda. We also call this as wavelength. So I am writing down over here wavelength. We represent the wavelength as the sign, that is as the lambda. So I hope I have mentioned all the points over here. Okay. So alright, now we'll just go through all these points in detail one by. I hope it's clear. That is, it is a disturbance. A wave is what? It's a disturbance which moves in the form of the waves, which is having the crest, that is a maximum amplitude, is that is a crest, and the minimum amplitude, it is called as the trough. Then this is the direction of propagation of the wave. So the first thing that is we'll take over here is a wavelength. I have already shown you what is a wavelength. That is the distance between two continuous trough. This is one trough, this is another trough. So the distance between two continuous trough, or the distance between the two continuous crest, we call that as a wavelength. We represented it by the sign that is as the lambda. So I am not writing down the definition, it is going to take a long time. I hope it's clear when I am speaking to you. So it is measured in angstrom unit, measured in angstrom unit or nanometers. Nanometers. That is nm. It is either measured in and then angstrom units or nanometers. So 1 angstrom, look here, 1 angstrom is equals to 10 raised to minus 8 centimeter is equals to 10 raised to minus 10 meter. Okay, then 1 nanometer is equals to 10 raised to minus 9 meter, which is equals to 10 raised to 9 angstrom. Sorry, this is equal to 10 angstrom. Look here, I repeat once again, wavelength, it is the units are angstrom, represented as, you just show a dot over here, angstrom or nanometers, nm in short. So 1 angstrom is equals to 10 raised to minus 8 centimeter, which is also equal to 10 raised to minus 10 meter, or 1 nanometer is equals to 10 raised to minus 9 meter is equals to 10 angstrom. So you just have to by heart it. That's nothing more that you can do with this. Probably according to your syllabus, no numericals are based on this particular part. So you just see that you read this particular part. Just go through it once, but you are not required, like according to my point of view, just read it once. That's it. You should be knowing what is the wavelength, what are the units, and that's it. Then next is the frequency. So frequency, that is number of waves passing through a reference point in 1 second, that is called as the frequency, and we represent it by V. This it is also called as, V is also called as nu. So suppose if I take this, suppose if this is a reference point, for example, if I am taking this as a reference point, so from this reference point, how many number of waves that has been passing in 1 second? Suppose in 1 second 10 waves are been passing. So obviously the frequency will be 10. Through one reference point, if 20 waves are passing, so the frequency will be 20. So we can take any as a reference point, and from a particular reference point, how many number of waves are passing in 1 second? That is called as the frequency. We represent it by V, which is also called as the nu. So it is expressed, that is its unit. Unit of frequency is cycles per second. Unit is cycles per second. we also write down as CPS in short, that is cycles per second, or it can be per second. These are the units for the frequency. Then 1 hertz is equals to, it's better I rub out this. So 1 unit of frequency is cycles per second, which is or it is also per second, or it is also hertz. We write down in words as HERTZ, hertz. This is the, in short we write down HZ, capital H, small z, hertz. Now let us see the relationship between hertz, seconds or CPS. So 1 hertz is equals to 1 CPS, which is also equal to per second. So we can write down in this way, that is 1 hertz is equals to 1 CPS is equals to per second. All these are equivalent to each other. At the same time, there are other units for measuring the frequency. There is a kilohertz. Other units are kilo hertz or mega hertz. These are the other units for measuring the frequency. So when we talk about the kilohertz, how do we relate it? That is 1 kilohertz. 1 kilohertz is equals to 10 raised to 3 hertz. Sorry, is equals to 10 raised to 3 hertz is equals to 10 raised to 3, because 1 hertz is equals to 1 CPS is equals to 10 raised to 3 CPS. At the same time, 1 megahertz, this is equals to 10 raised to 6 hertz is equals to 10 raised to 6 CPS. Clear? This is the relationship between your hertz, megahertz and the cycles per second. Now, when we talk about one wave, when you are talking about a reference point means what? Through one reference point, how many waves that are traveling in 1 second, that is called as the frequency. So, what do we mean by number of waves? One wave means what? One crest plus one trough. So, one wave is what? One wave, it will include what? One crest. So that means what? If you are saying, if you need to know about frequency is what? That means through a reference point in 1 second, these, how many number of crests and trough they are passing. If suppose 1 crest, 1 trough means 1 wave. If 2 crests, 2 trough means 2 waves. So this is how we get the idea about the frequency. Clear? Next term we have over here as, or we can call this, that is one wave or one cycle also. It can be either you call this as one wave or one cycle. Okay. Next term is the velocity, which is represented as c. Velocity is also represented as c. So what is velocity? The distance traveled. Distance traveled by a wave in how much time? Distance traveled by one wave or distance traveled by a wave in 1 second. See, everywhere you take the units. So distance traveled by one wave or distance traveled by a wave in 1 second, that is called as the velocity. So distance traveled by a wave in 1 second, that is called as the velocity. It is represented by c or denoted by the letter c. Now this velocity is related to your wavelength and the frequency, that is c. Velocity is equals to what? V lambda. What is V? V is frequency. So we can say velocity is what? From this we get, that is velocity is equals to frequency into wavelength. Clear everyone? velocity. C is what? Velocity, and V is what? Frequency, and lambda is what? Wavelength. So we get velocity is equals to frequency into wavelength. We'll be requiring this once again after some time. I'm just enclosing it in the box so that again after some time we'll be requiring it. So velocity is of light. So we are talking about the velocity. We are talking about a wave, and light is also a what? A wave. Electromagnetic radiations, these are also the wave. So what can we say? Velocity of light is equal to the velocity of electromagnetic radiations or electromagnetic waves. Everywhere we are relating what? The light waves with the electromagnetic waves. Just this is a correlation between both of them. So now this velocity of light is how much? Velocity of light, which has already been found out, that is velocity of light is equals to 3 into 10 raised to, I told you in the previous class also, 3 into 10 raised to 10 centimeter per second. Or it is also, or we can also write down 3 into 10 raised to 8 meters per second. This is the velocity of light. So this velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 raised to 10 centimeter per second, or 3 into 10 raised to 8 meters per second, that is the velocity of light. This is also the velocity of the electromagnetic radiations. The next term is, that is our fourth term, is wave number. Now what do we mean by wave number? Now first of all, let us see how it has been represented. It is represented as V bar, or it is also called as nu bar. So this is also called as nu bar. Nu bar. Okay. Now what exactly is a wave number? There is a number of waves. Number of waves that can be accommodated in unit length. Suppose if this is our one unit length. Now let this unit length, let us consider this unit length as a 1 centimeter. And in this 1 centimeter, how many number of waves that can be accommodated? Suppose if I say over here 10 waves can be accommodated. If 10 waves can be accommodated, that means 10 crest plus 10 trough, it can be accommodated in this 1 centimeter. So that is what is equals to the wave number. So number of waves that can be accommodated in unit length can be accommodated in unit length. Unit length. Unit means what? 1 in unit length. But how much is the unit length? We consider for our reference is the 1 centimeter. The number of waves that can be accommodated in unit length, that is 1 centimeter, that is called as the wave number, which is represented as V bar, which is also called as the nu bar. Now this V bar, this nu bar, that is let's come to the units first. Units of this is equals to per centimeter, or it is per meter. At the same time, it has got a relationship, that is nu bar is equals to 1 by lambda, that is 1 upon this wavelength in centimeter. This should be in centimeter. Wavelength should be in centimeter. 1 by lambda in centimeter. Okay. Now we have already studied this relationship, that is C is equals to V by lambda. Now what is C? C is velocity, and V is frequency, and lambda is wavelength. So this relationship we bring it back over here. Okay. Now this V is equals to what? V will be getting it as C by lambda. Clear? So this will be equals to, that is C, V is equals to C by lambda. So that will be equal to C nu bar or V bar. Clear? Because this lambda is what? Lambda is what? V bar or nu bar. So we get this relation, that is C is equals to V bar or C into nu bar. Clear? So that is what is our wave number. Alright. Next term is the only term which is remaining now to be discussed is what? Amplitude. So our fifth term is what? Amplitude. amplitude. Now what is an amplitude? It is represented by A, and if you just remember the diagram which I have drawn some time back, that is the maximum height leading to the formation of a crest, or the minimum depth leading to the formation of a trough. That is called as the amplitude, represented by the alphabet A. So we can call it as height of a crest, height of a crest, or we can also call this as depth of a trough. That is called as the amplitude, or the height of a crest or the depth of a trough along the line of propagation of wave. Along the line of propagation of wave. That is called as the amplitude. Okay, so we have started about the light waves, the radio, the electromagnetic waves. Now besides this, there are certain radiations which you have come across these words. Where we always come across these type of radiations, these words very often. That is the radio waves, the infrared waves, then UV rays, then visible light. So all these are these are different forms of radiations, and all these they propagate in the form of the electromagnetic waves. That is the way the electromagnetic waves, they propagate in the same way. All these radiations, where is the cosmic rays or the infrared rays, visible rays, and the microwaves, all these are the different forms of radiations, and they also they also propagate in the form of the electromagnetic radiations, which we'll be studying in detail in our next video. So I hope it's clear to you what that is the light waves, the electromagnetic waves. I hope it's clear to you. If any doubt, you can just put it into the comment section, or you can just ask me personally. Thank you, students.